Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here today. We are here to talk about Presence Platform. We are a broad range of machine learning and AI capabilities to help you invent immersive metaverse experiences. We're going to talk a little bit more about the vision for the metaverse, go over the state of Presence Platform as it exists today, and then dive in a little bit deeper into our mixed reality capabilities. By way of intros, my name is Akshay Desai. I'm a product manager at Meta. I'm really excited about this topic. I've been thinking about the metaverse ever since I first stepped foot into Azeroth like 20 years ago. It's World of Warcraft. I'm really passionate about connected online worlds and persistent worlds where I can connect with friends.
I'm Meenal, product manager at Meta. I got excited about the metaverse when it allowed me to immerse myself in Tetris in 3D through a game called Cubism instead of the 2D flat screen that I was used to. I'm excited about enabling fun and rich immersive experiences and building communities around them.
Let's talk about the metaverse. Now, the metaverse is not just an abstraction. It's not some kind of dream. In fact, I'd argue that in many ways the metaverse is here already, and it's been around. What is the metaverse if not a persistent and connected online world? If you think about the evolution of connected online worlds, we've come a long way from early iterations, things like World of Warcraft and EverQuest, other MMOs like that, to persistent experiences that allow you to build and modify your world, things like Minecraft and Roblox, to fully immersive VR experiences like Horizon Worlds. These metaverse experiences allow you to create, collaborate, and connect with each other. Today, Presence Platform can help you take this to the next level, letting people feel connected to the real world as well. Let's start with 3 defining characteristics of the metaverse. We're going to talk about what this means and how we've enabled these things with capabilities that we've shipped as part of Presence Platform today. Number 1, blending digital and physical worlds. Now, early metaverse destinations, Roblox, Horizon Worlds, etc., they offer experiences that are completely virtual, and people will continue to engage in these experiences in the future. But we believe that people want to engage in experiences where virtual and real worlds seamlessly blend together. Presence Platform provides APIs that let you use Passthrough and build apps using Passthrough, which uses the Quest sensors to allow people to see the world around them. With Quest Pro, you can see the world in full color, as you see here. Blending environments like this really helps people feel much more grounded and much more comfortable. Not only is blending spaces important, but sharing spaces is another aspect of the metaverse. These spaces can be virtual or, as you see here, real. In this example, in this kind of animated GIF here, you can see there's 2 people physically present. There's a dining table, a dining room, but you can also see that there's like virtual content kind of going all over the place. And it's tethered to the actual table, to the physical table. This is possible using a technology called Spatial Anchors. And of course, Passthrough is enabled as well. You can see some other stuff going on. We're going to come back to this example and see more of a full example a little bit later. Number 2, natural interactions. Feeling like you're embodied in the metaverse also means being able to confidently put down your controllers and use your hands. Our Hands APIs and Interaction SDK allow developers such as yourselves to build compelling experiences with no controllers necessary. In this example, you can see there's a mesh for like a gray hand mesh, and you can see that there's a little virtual spray bottle. But the important part here is that that gray hand mesh is actually representing a real life hand. Our hand tracking technology can consistently capture important gestures like pinch, grab, and poke. Whether you're trying to, pick up a chess piece, or if you're trying to hit a punching bag, right, with a punch, or maybe you're trying to blast people with fireballs, or maybe even play the piano, we continue to invest in hand tracking and using the Interaction SDK to help you build seamless experiences using natural interactions. And of course, our Voice SDK. Now, the Voice SDK allows you to use voice recognition capabilities powered by Wit.ai to enable compelling experiences and unlock new modes of gameplay. Now, as cute as Oppie is over here, I don't think an animated GIF does the Voice SDK much justice, so let's take a look at a video from Connect to give you a better sense of how this works.
here. Jump for me.
Let's play any song. Let's crank it up. Push. Slow. Shield.
Freeze.
What?
Drop your weapon.
If it eases your mind.
Get on the ground.
I'm doing it. Just take it easy.
Mega boom.
Tell me a story.
Okay.
Make it this big. Summon butterflies.
If you would have gone back in time and told 16-year-old me that in some video game you're going to just be able to say, put your gun down, and the character would put their gun down, I would have lost my mind. Just saying. Our third and final characteristic is embodiment. A lot of metaverse experiences today, things I mentioned earlier, they feel a lot like you're on the outside looking in. One of the defining characteristics of the metaverse is that you feel like you're in the metaverse, embodied in the actual experience. To feel embodied, it's really important that people are represented with some type of a 3D avatar. They want to feel comfortable using these digital humans to represent themselves accurately. So you want the avatar to behave like you as well as look like you. You want it to wink when you wink. You want it to smile when you smile, using Meta's avatars or your own avatars. And of course, move when you move. With that in mind, we think about Presence Platform in three key pillars. Number one, mixed reality, blending the physical and digital worlds with Passthrough, Scene, and Anchors. Number two, interaction, natural interactions using the power of your hands and your voice. And number three, social presence, realistic embodiment with eyes, face, and body tracking. Within these pillars, Presence Platform provides a number of APIs for both Unity and Unreal Engine to unlock capabilities that you can use to build compelling experiences. We give you the tools, you build the metaverse. Let's take a look at examples of what this looks like when it all comes together. Now, I showed this a little bit earlier. This is Slime Ball. Pay attention to how the players are moving their mouths and their hands.
You ready to play?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's mine.
Hello.
This is so fun.
One more?
Slime Ball is actually available through App Lab today. It's a good time. Check it out. Let's do a bit of a deeper dive into mixed reality, a key pillar of Presence Platform. With mixed reality, we build capabilities that enable users and developers to blend physical and digital worlds. MR capabilities are shipped as part of Presence Platform today for Unity and for Unreal Engine. And with that, I'll hand it over to my co-presenter, Mino.
Thanks, Aship. Today, VR experiences transport you to a different environment. However, eventually, if we need to broaden this, and if we want the metaverse available and accessible to each and every one of you, we believe that we need to provide capabilities that not only allow you to be immersed in the virtual environment, but also stay connected and grounded to the physical world in front of you. Imagine you're watching Star Wars in your living room. You know what is real and what is not real. You're connected and comfortable in the real world around you. Now take this experience to the virtual environment. While you're immersed and watching Star Wars in your virtual reality, you still want to be comfortable and connected with the real world around you. That's where mixed reality comes in. Mixed reality provides capabilities that allows users and developers to blend the virtual and the physical worlds together. So what exactly does mixed reality enable? Well, mixed reality enables you to do 4 things. 1, see the physical space in front of you. 2, capture the physical environment that the user is in and bring it with you in the virtual environment. 3, augment the physical space with virtual augments. Like you saw in the slime ball example that was shown earlier. You have these augments sitting on the table. And 4, seamlessly connect and collaborate with others, something that is fundamental to the mission of Meta. Let's look at an example of how mixed reality looks in a gameplay. This is Gizmo Builder by Free Range Games. This is a puzzle building game in which you can build your own Rube Goldberg style machine in your home. Imagine all of these virtual augments lying on the real world surfaces in your house. Looks exciting, right? So if this got you excited about mixed reality, let's look at the building blocks for mixed reality. Now let's look into the core capabilities that enable you to build mixed reality experiences. Passthrough, Scene, and Anchors. Passthrough, which allows you to see the physical space, or which allows VR users to see the physical space that they are in. Scene, which gives developers an easy way to understand the physical environment that the users are in. And Anchors, which provides developers with the world-locked frames of reference on which they can pin virtual content that persists over time. Let's take a deeper look. Number 1 is Passthrough. The goal of Passthrough is to provide VR users with a high-fidelity, real-time reconstruction of the physical space that the users are in, so they can stay aware of the surroundings in front of them. With Passthrough, you can create games that blend the excitement of the virtual world with the comfort and familiarity of the real world that the user is in. Imagine zombies hiding in your living room. That's the kind of excitement that Passthrough can bring to your game. We launched black and white Passthrough with Quest 2, followed by the launch of Color Passthrough on Quest Pro in Connect last year. Passthrough is rendered by a dedicated service and is a part of a separate layer and part of the system, so you as a developer do not have to worry about it. You can combine Passthrough with virtual content in multiple different ways. See here a full spectrum of how you can have Passthrough cover the entire space in front of the user, to increasing the amount of virtual content and building more and more AR-like VR experiences. By default, Passthrough will reconstruct to show the entire room. But it also gives you the ability to customize Passthrough to suit the style of your gameplay dynamic. Couple of ways to do that: styling and Passthrough windows. With styling, you can do things like colorize your Passthrough feed, highlight edges, apply image processing effects, and just do many other cool things to suit your gameplay dynamic. Passthrough windows. With Passthrough windows, you can have virtual content cover the entire space in front of you, and have pass-through show in just a selected area where you want to make the visible content in pass-through shine. So for example, over here, you can have all of the users be visible in the virtual space, but just have pass-through show up in a small space where the keyboard is showing. While pass-through allows you to see your environment and be aware of it, it is really when you combine it with scene that you can fully realize the full potential of mixed reality. Scene understanding is a system solution that reduces friction for developers to understand the physical space that the user is in and build experiences around them with real-time occlusion and collision effects. It comes with Scene Model, which is a single system-managed representation of the physical environment, such as the floor, ceiling, wall, along with the 2D and 3D bounding boxes that it comes with. Users can mark the space using a system-guided flow called Scene Capture, and all of this information is then stored in the Scene Model. Developers can query this information using the Scene API and use it in their games. For example, when you throw a virtual ball against a ball, it will bounce back. This is enabled by Scene API. Let's look at this example. It's an internal prototype that our team built. It demos the Scene API along with color pass-through. See this virtual robot that's crawling up the walls. This is enabled by Scene API. And you can see color pass-through, which is making the room visible. If you have built games before, you know how hard it is to do this. If color pass-through and scene understanding do the heavy lifting to let MR experiences blend the physical and the virtual worlds, our anchoring capabilities provide the connective tissue that holds all of them together. Spatial anchors are a core capability of mixed reality that provides developers with world-locked frames of reference on which you can pin virtual content that persists over time. So for example, I can pin my Instagram feed in the space over here. I can go back and come back for the next session, and the content will continue to be there. Combining pass-through, scene, and anchors allows developers to create room-scale mixed reality, fun and engaging experiences. Imagine your room is a rendering canvas for gameplay. You can have a virtual panel in the physical wall over there. Users can walk up to this virtual panel, open this panel to reveal a fully immersive world full of its own characters that can then bounce back into the physical world and bounce back and forth. That's the kind of excitement that mixed reality can bring to your game. You can also be a secret agent in your living room, sketch an extension to your home, create physics games, and so much more. Last but not the least, we have added shared spatial anchors to Presence platform. Shared spatial anchors makes it easy for developers to build local multiplayer experiences by providing a shared world-locked frame of reference for multiple users. It allows users that are co-located in the same space to share content amongst themselves so they can play games with each other. For example, here you can see two players sitting across each other on a table and playing a game of virtual chess. Seems quite simple, right? Well, it is an extremely complex problem, especially when you are dealing with the relative position of two physical people along with the position of the virtual objects in each of the pieces in the chessboard that's over there. We want to make these types of experiences easy for you to build on. So here's an example of what this all looks like when it comes together. This is Zombie Noir by Synodic Arc. This is one of our older versions. It uses black and white pass-through to show your space, scene to render obstacles and the environment, and spatial anchors to save portals to a city full of zombies. If you're into the horror genre of games, do try this out. Zombie Noir is coming to store soon. This is just the beginning. Mixed reality will continue to evolve through software updates and through the multiple hardware advances delivered in future Meta products. We are excited by the enthusiastic support we have already seen from developers building mixed reality experiences. I've also had the opportunity of meeting a lot of you over here, and I'm super excited to see the enthusiasm for mixed reality. You can see the diverse set of apps that are already using mixed reality. We hope you will come build with us and become a part of this community.